Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'd like to show you how I made my version of the twist and pop-up card. Just undo the ribbon, and as you open it up, this pops out. I know there are lots of versions of this already on YouTube, but I have been requested to make my version of it, so here we go. I'm going to be using Cherry Cobbler for the video. This one is real red, and the designer series paper here is Candy Cane Lane designer series paper, and this one is Presents and Pine Cones. So to start off with, the cardstock you're going to need. The Cherry Cobbler, you need a piece that's 11 inches by 4 inches, which is 28 by 10 centimetres. You need a piece that's 10 inches by 3.5 inches, which is 25 by 9 centimetres. A piece that's 8 inches by 3.5 inches, which is 20 centimetres by 9 centimetres. Then you need 2 pieces of Very Vanilla, which measure 5 3/8 inches by 3 7/8 inches, which is 13.75 by 9.75 centimetres. 2 pieces of the designer series paper that measure 5 1/4 inches by 3 3/4 inches, which is 13.5 by 9.5 centimetres. So that's 2 of those. Then you need another 2 pieces of Very Vanilla that measure 3 7/8 inches by 3 5/8 inches, which is 9.75 by 9.25 centimetres. And 2 pieces of designer series paper which measure 3 3/4 inches by 3.5 inches, which is 9.5 by 9 centimetres. Then you need 4 pieces of Whisper White, which measure, Very Vanilla, not Whisper White, Very Vanilla that measure 2 3/8 inches by 3 3/8 inches, which is 6 by 8.5 centimetres. And then 4 pieces of designer series paper. I'm using something that's a contrast for the inside. Just to remind you what I did here, this was the candy cane, and then on the inside the speckly sort of design. Okay, so the designer series paper is 2 1/4 inches by 3 1/4 inches, which is 5.75 by 8.25 centimetres, and that's 4 of each of those. And then for the Noel, I'm doing the same as what I did with my previous video when I showed the Noel shaker card. I'm going to die cut my letters out of here, and then I'm going to use the negative to make another shaker card. So if you want to do it like that, you need a piece that's 2.5 inches by 5 3/8 inches, which is 6.25 by 14.75 centimetres. Okay, so because this is obviously going to be quite a long video, I have done some of the work in advance, but the work that I've done in advance is only basic things like gluing the bits together like that. Right, so what I mean is I've already glued those 4 pieces together. I've glued those 2 and I've glued those 2, but I haven't done the other bits. So we're going to start off using these 3 large pieces of cardstock that we have, and we're going to need our scoreboard. Let's move those just there. Right, so if you start with the biggest piece first, if you turn it landscape, and you need to score this at 5.5 inches. Sorry, 5.5 inches, which is 14 centimetres. And then the piece that's 10.5 by 10 inches by 3.5 inches. You need to score this at 2.5 inches, 5 inches and 7.5 inches, which in metric is 6.25 by 12.5 by 18.75. So in I keep saying it's English. In inches, that's 2.5, 5 and 7.5, and metric, that's 6.25, 12.5, 18.75. And then the next piece, you need to turn this portrait, and you need to score this at 1 3/4 inches, which is 4.5 centimetres. My score tool's not sliding very easily. Oh, definitely not sliding very easily. Okay, now what we need to do is take your pencil, and with this now in the landscape mode, you need to put a little pencil mark at 2 1/4 inches and 5 3/4 inches, which is 5.5 centimetres by 14.5 centimetres. So that's 2 1/4 there and 5 3/4 there. And turn it around and do the same again, 2 1/4 by 5 3/4, and that was 5.75 centimetres by 14.5 centimetres. Now what we need to do is we need to score from that line down to that line, and then that line down to that line. Now I've now drawn a line down my scoreboard because that really does make life so much easier. You can do this on your trimmer if you like. So what I'm going to do is I am lining up that mark onto my red line and that onto my red line, and then I can score to join the two together. And then I'm going to turn it the other way, so that side's lining up, if it doesn't move, and that's lining up as well. There we go. Okay, so if you've done that correctly, you're going to find these cross each other. Let me just see if I can get rid of that little looks better. So that's the only scoring we need to do. So with this one, if you need your score, your bone folder, fold this in half, then give it a good crease, and then fold across that way so that this here should line up with your pencil mark down there. and then do the same on the other diagonal line and give that a good crease. Now I suggest you use your eraser to take your pencil marks off. On one of my cards I had to do this after I'd adhered the whole thing together, and it wasn't easy. There we go. Right, now which way does this go? I think if we have that going that way, and then that's right. Bear with me while I work this one out. Now that shouldn't fold. One goes up, one goes down. Oh, there we go. That's how it should be. Okay, so you've got like two legs down there. So what I've done is I've got these long lines going along the landscape side. They're going down as a valley. Okay, and these two are coming up as mountains. You shouldn't finish up putting any more creases anywhere apart from the lines that you've already done. Okay, so you don't need to put a fold in there at all. It should just fold very nicely on what you have there. And then once you've done that, I'm just closing those two, what I can only describe as legs, closing those together. Sorry about that. And then giving this a nice crease. Turn it over the other side. You want nice creases for the because this is a moving card. Now I'm going to use red sticky strip on this bit. I'm quite tempted to use Tombow, but I'm not brave enough at the moment. Once I've done a few more of these maybe. So what I'm going to do with the red sticky strip, I'm going to put that on these triangles, that one and that one, okay? I haven't tried this using any other adhesive so far. I do know that this one works. I also know our fast fuse is very strong, so I don't see why it wouldn't work. But as I say, I haven't actually tried it myself. Okay, so that's that. If you just give it a rub down with your fingernail or your scissors or something, it does make it easier to come up. And I'm just going to cut that little bit off because that's sticking out. Right, that's it, that's that big one. Right, okay, so if we get the other bits in, let's just get these folded before we do this. So this is the one that's going to be folded in half. So make sure your corners line up nicely. And, whoops, and then give that a good crease. And then this one, if you fold it in the middle nice crease, and then bring one back on itself so that you're going to finish up with Valley, Mountain, Valley, and just make sure that they do actually line up properly. Okay. Now that one's a lot easier. That first one was a little bit of a battle, but that's okay. Now if you bring this one back again, what you need to do is, this is the piece we're doing first, we need to know where our halfway mark is. So we need to mark our 2 inches, or 2 inches, 5 centimetres. Okay, so that's that. Now I'm going to take off one side of my red backing, right, that's that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this point up to that pencil mark, but just a tad below that fold line. Okay, so just there, and I'm going to check my sides to make sure that I am laying this straight, so that this is coming straight down there. And there we go. Okay, let me show you how close that is. Okay, can you see that? I can't see I haven't got the screen in front of me again. So I can't see exactly what you can see, but hopefully you'll be able to see that one. So the next one is to take the red backing off the other side, there we go, and then holding this down, bring this one over and making sure that your sides are lining up straight. Now by giving it a rub like this, it's going to leave marks because you've got a lumpy bit underneath, but it doesn't matter because we're going to put covers on here. But that is what should happen, and if you have done this, the point, close enough to the fold line, you'll find that that will open right the way up. If you've done it so that you've got too much of a gap there, you'll find that your card will only open up so far, but that's as far as it will go, so that's good. There's a slight gap in there, but that's not going to create any problems. So that's that one. Now what I think we will do, I haven't been this organised before, but I'm going to decorate this bit and this bit before I put the middle in, because I'm going to put the ribbon through it as well. I'm using our cherry cobbler ribbon, and what oops, where'd that come from? I'm just going to put a piece in like this and a piece in that side, and then it's going to be covered up. So I think I use about 11 inches, I suppose. 10 or 11 inches, and I do one for either side. This is going to be exposed. It'll be hidden behind the 4 bits. Let me show you what I mean here. Okay, you can still see the red bit at the back there, which means I couldn't really put my ribbon all the way through because that would be visible, and because this is a point, as the ribbon goes through it, it would all scrunch up, so that wouldn't look very nice. So let's do this the same length. I'll use my silicone mat because I want to use my fast fuse for this. And what I'm doing is I am putting my cardstock in the centre of my grid paper. So that is there. Yep, that's it. There's 8 squares either side, so I know that's the centre. Now I'm not going to put this right the way up because when I put my layers on it, it doesn't come right to the top. Okay, so that's one. And this, all I need to do is make sure that I'm opposite that one. So as long as that comes in a straight line, I'm good to go. And this is fast fuse. So what I'm going to do is just lay that on top there. Lay the other one on here. And then I'm just going to make sure that the two will meet up. In fact, that one looks way out of line. Well, it's out, but it doesn't look, it's not that far out. As you know, I can't see a straight line at all. Let's just move it over a little bit more, then I'll be happy. Yep, that's good. Okay. Right. Now I'm going to bring in the smaller pieces of these. Okay, so these were your pieces that measure, they're Whisper White, Very Vanilla is 3 7/8 by 3 5/8, and what's going to happen is they are going to sit just on there. Okay, now I'm also going to decide which way round I want these because I don't think they've got a right or wrong. I think, in fact, that one can go up there because that looks quite nice like that. Let's do that one that way. So turn it over, and this is one of my jobs for Tombow, as you know. So what I'm going to do, oops, is I've kept it the way round it's got to go on there, and the reason for that is so that I can put my Tombow on here, do my usual thing of look like that, but then I'm going to put extra where the ribbon's going to be. Okay, let me just mop that bit up before I put anything on top of it. Crikey, I have been messy. Look at that. I've got Tombow on there and a bit of Tombow on there. Obviously going to give my adhesive eraser a bit of a workout later on. Right, now this one goes around that way, doesn't it? So should we have it that way? Yep, we'll do it that way. So again, I've positioned it so I know where the ribbon will be. It's already down there with fast fuse, which is very, very strong, but I just like to make doubly sure. The thing is, the ribbon's got to take quite a bit of pressure because it's going to be opened and closed, or at least tied and untied. Right, let's see if I can do this without getting in so much mess. Tweezers always help. Okay, so what you find when you're doing this is this edge of the designer series paper, it comes just to the edge of this here. Okay, so it's just inside there, just inside that one as well. Okay, so that's that, and then we can do these ones as well. Okay, so I'm going to put these on. Do I mind which is going to be my front and my back? I don't think so. Oh yes I do, I'm going to have that as my front, aren't I? Okay, and I'll use that one for my front as well. There we go. Now if you do have a directional pattern, you've obviously got to be careful when you go from one side to the other. Mine doesn't really matter, I'm just being a bit fussy really. Okay, so that's that. So now we need to put our folded piece on there. Right, let's just do that up first, otherwise he won't work when I need him to. Right, so this is going to be opening up like this. What we need now is, for this centrepiece here, we need to work out where the centre is there. So again, that's going to be the 2-inch mark. So to a certain extent you have to just eyeball this because your ruler can't actually get to where that is. So you just have to look at it to make sure you've got the right place. Okay, so once you've got that decided, if you put that centre fold there in line with your pencil mark, have these two bits closed, and then it doesn't matter which side you choose, but you've got to have top and a bottom that are opposite each other. So you could have that top, that bottom, or you could have that top, that bottom. Right, now what you need to do is just draw a pencil line down by the side there, down as far as you'll fold, that centre fold there. Okay, so you've got that square there, and then the same on this side. So you've got that square there. We're not cutting it off, but that's where we're going to be putting glue. Now this is a bit where I've used Tombow, and it does work okay, but if you want to use fast fuse or the red sticky strip, you can do. I have a horrible feeling that this Tombow is going to all of a sudden spurt out. Oh, you've got to do both of them at the same time. I'm in such a hurry to get it put away just in case it does go. There's a big splodge. Okay, so what we do now is we take this with our centre mark there, we're going to line it up with that. Like that. And just making sure that does actually stay in place. And then making sure that this lines up with the edge here. And making sure the other end is lining up and lining up. And once you're happy, open that one out and that one. So both will get adhered to the underneath bit by that little corner where you've put the glue on it. Just give that a few seconds for Tombow to get to grips with. And then what you should find is you will probably need to give this a little bit of a push from underneath, and what that means is where you've got this bit here, if you just put your finger slightly in there, give it a little bit of a push so that the folds come up, and then you can push it right the way down so that it folds. Okay, so give that a nice little fold, make sure it's all doing what it should be doing. Okay. That's it. We just needed a little bit to get it going. But at this stage, I will just show you one, my very first one that I did. I used a retired colour, just in case it didn't work out, but it did. But a mistake that I made is, once I'd done that bit there, I wanted a little bit extra because it looked a bit bland. And then I did the same on the inside, did that there and these here. But this one, it catches as this, and on this bit here, it catches as it goes down. So that's not a good idea to put anything on here, which is why I haven't done anything on the inside of this. I've left this totally plain. Okay, and it just goes down really nicely. And I will be leaving this plain as well. Right, now on here I need to put these pieces. I mean, this could have been done before you put this piece onto the card, but I think this is quite easy to do. It's quite straightforward. Okay. And then the last one. like that. Now what I've done for the letters, again to save a bit of time, I took my sheet, and if you saw my video for the shaker card you will have seen what I did was I put this onto my magnetic plate. Let's just imagine this is my magnetic plate with the cutting mat there, and I took my letters and I placed them all on like this in the right way, and then I put that through the big shot, and then I had the letters cut out which I was using for my project, the previous project, but I'd saved the negative for my shaker. Now what I've done here is, first of all, I put my piece of paper with the letters on it through my big shot to get those cut out, and then once they were cut out I put it back through all of it, and it was quite easy to fit the bits back in. As you can see, it's quite easy even now to pop them all back in there, and then I ran it through the softly falling embossing folder. I put it so that it was up here so that I had as many of the bobbles as possible, so that now for my project here I have letters that have got character to them. I just didn't want to use plain cardstock, that was all. I tossed up between stamping a pattern on there, like a background pattern, but I finally decided on this one, and this I will use for another shaker card. Okay, so I'm just going to adhere these onto there, and then I just need to do the stamping for the sentiment on the front. Oh, here we go. And my silicone mat again. I would have used the glimmer paper for this, but I found that, or at least I felt the glimmer was a bit too white to go with the vanilla of the designer series paper in here, which is why I was looking around for something else to do. Plus the fact it's always nice to come up with different things to use. We've got so many nice products that we've got, so... Right, now when you put this one on, all you need to do is just try and make sure it's in a straight line. Okay. Now that goes with that one, doesn't it? I don't want that here. That was the centre of the O, in case you didn't see what I'd picked up. And then just the last letter. There we go, that's that. So that is the actual card finished. Okay, that just ties up with that. And this is the sentiment that I've used, which is this one, and it is from the Wrapped in Warmth stamp set, which is this one. What have I done? This one here, May Your Christmas Be Wrapped in Love. So I'm just going to use some scraps here. Ink, cherry cobbler. Just pop that into the centre. That's it, that's good. And I'm going to die cut that using the layered ovals framelits. So I just clear a space to get my big shot up. So that one I'm going to do with a plain, a straight cut die. Then I'm going to layer it onto a cherry cobbler scallop circle, and I'm not sure if I want to put the vanilla one underneath. What I mean is, like this one here, I've got the white, the red, and then the white again. But if I cut one, at least I can put the two together and see whether I like them or not. Oh, I sorted that out. I cut it too short. Will that fit on there? No, that's a bit too short as well. There must be a piece here that's big enough. Yes, let's try that one. The cutting edge on these dies is on the inside. But I do get caught out occasionally, like I did just then. That's better. I will save that one that I've just made a mistake with for next time when I want a smaller scalloped vanilla, very vanilla one. Okay, so what I'm doing is just put Tombow onto this. And then having a look, see, do I want that to go straight on there? No, I don't, do I? Definitely want that to be on there. Yes, I do. Oh, well, I'm glad I went back to do that one. There we go. This will still fit into one of our normal envelopes as well, but it will cost a bit extra in postage because it weighs quite a bit, and I imagine it comes up too thick for our normal post as well. There we go. There's today's card. Beautiful, really lovely. I like this. Whoever came up with this idea is absolutely brilliant. In fact, there was a man who, it was his original idea. Can't think what it is, but I'll put it on the screen because I know he was the one who actually started it. I've heard his name mentioned in several other videos, so I will find it out. So there's that one. that one, and my very first one, which as I say was using a retired colour. But lovely, lovely card. Do give it a try. It's a lot easier than it might look. Many thanks for joining me today. If you have any questions, please email me or leave a comment in the box below. My email address is janb@janbcards.com. If you'd like to purchase any of the products that I featured here, please click on the link that's in the box below. That'll take you straight to my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop. If you've enjoyed my video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button, and then you'll be notified each time I upload another video, which is normally on a Wednesday and a Sunday. And I will also be putting all the measurements and the products that I've used on the screen. If you can't see them there because of the device you're watching this on, if you click on show more down below, that will open up the box and all the measurements and products will be in there. Finally, if you would like to know about joining up as a demonstrator, either as a business builder or as a hobbyist, I would love to hear from you and explain to you what's involved. Again, contact me at janb@janbcards.com. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.